So I kind of want to repose the question again after the last few games. Should United be looking to get rid of him this summer?
I don't really see Casemiro as like a massive decline and fall off, if I'm honest.
Think?
I think he just scored more goals last year and was a scorer of big goals and showed us like parts of his experience and stuff. And has still scored some goals for us this season as well. I just think technically as a footballer, I don't think he's got any worse. I feel like our team has become more open. So the spotlight on him is increased of the deficiencies that he has. Last year, we weren't conceding this many shots. No. We wasn't as open as this. So it hid the fact that if you do leave someone like Casemiro like that with massive spaces, he's going to get run past even more. Even last year, he still used to do that Casemiro special where he goes mad into a tackle and just go past him. He's always done that since he's come here. To the Premier League, he's done that. So I don't see it as he's all of a sudden, like in one summer, he's this terrible, terrible player. I think what's happened with our style this year and the lack of it transpiring into something new, I feel like he's then been more exposed than ever and can't protect Kobe. He can't man the midfield. Yeah. Too much gaps, too open. And then when you look at it from an on-the-ball perspective, this season, I mean, remember last season it was Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno. That was our best midfield. You've got Eriksen in there making things tick. He was really good at that. He's not there anymore. So now the eyes are all on Casemiro at times as well in this open, expansive Man United midfield, and he don't want to play ball. There's been times in passages of play when we're trying to knock a few passes together. As soon as it gets to Casemiro, he goes, no, I'm doing my Casemiro special into an area, that one that he hooks around the top, hooks around the side into a space. If he's got space and time, of course he's played for Real Madrid 10 years. Like, he can pick a pass. Like, if he's got space and time, he's not being pressed and it's in transition, he can, move the ball out to the right-hand side or hit a little bit of a diagonal pass. But it's not really his game. And I just think that those discrepancies, coupled with the fact of how much money he's on and how long he has left on his contract, if Saudi were to come in with how we need to rebuild this midfield and how we want our midfield to be, I don't think it involves someone with Casemiro's skill set. I really don't. So I agree that we should take the money if it comes, if a substantial bid comes for Casemiro, because it helps us with our finances and how we move this squad on in general, because he's on a long contract and big money. And also stylistically, I think the partner for Kobe, we need to build this midfield around Kobe Mainoo, and that's not, for me, in the long term, going to include Casemiro.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree in the sense of he's being exposed. The style of play, the way we play, does not suit Casemiro's game at all, and it's completely different if you compare the way Mainoo and Bruno are being asked to play in comparison to how Modric and Kroos were playing at Real Madrid. It's a completely different style of football. And even Casemiro's been asked to play higher up the pitch than he was perhaps doing at Real Madrid. But I do think that there has been a bit of a decline because, yes, last season he was playing a similar style of play, like the Casemiro special that we know, going in hard or playing those passes one time without even looking.
He's always done that.
He's always done it. But this year, it's not working. It's not working. He's missing a lot of those challenges that was making sense, that was working last season. And those passes that he was making around the corner first time, a lot of them aren't working anymore. So I think what we're seeing is a mixture of things. Number one, his age. And, the Premier League is a physical league and it's a very fast-paced league, and his age is starting to have an effect on how he plays and how he's suited to the Premier League. And we're also seeing the manager's tactics have, exposing Casemiro. In terms of whether we should sell him or not, I kind of like to find a balance in, yes, perhaps we need to look for an alternative solution, someone to play next to Kobe, but at the same time, I wouldn't rush to get rid of him, because you don't want to be light in that midfield. And sometimes I think you also need to value the experience of Casemiro as well. Whether he should be on the wage that he's on now or not, that's another debate.
It's not going to change, yeah.
Yeah, however, I wouldn't rush to get rid of him, because I think the likes of Kobe and whoever else we get in to play in that DM position can still learn.
So if Saudi came in and said, here's 35 million for Casemiro, and obviously they're going to take his £350,000 wages off the books, would you reject that offer then in saying, nah, I'm not in a rush to get rid of him for his experience, or would you take it?
I would initially reject it.
Would you?
Yeah, I would.
What,
in
the way that you think they would offer more, or?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all about the money, especially from us as fans.
He's got 3 years left.
It
at
depends.
$350K a week, bro.
If we can get 2 DMs, a younger one and an older one with a bit of experience, someone like De Jong or someone like that, then yeah, cool. Take the money, take Casemiro. But if it means that we're just getting rid of Casemiro and then getting another DM in, just one DM, no, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't sell Casemiro for 35 million. It's not all about the money.
I'll take 35 million for Casemiro in a heartbeat.
No.
I really think I would. And I just want to go back to the point you talked about Kobbie Mainoo and building the midfield around him. Mainoo did say the other day that he thinks his dream... So he was asked the question, who's your dream midfield partner? And he said Paul Scholes, who is very much a different type of player to Casemiro. And so it may be the better idea to get rid of Casemiro and don't buy a profile like him again.
Exactly
and
that.
instead get someone more in the mould of Paul Scholes.
But in the interview, he also said that they would probably concede a lot of goals. So I think he's not necessarily saying that like the balance will necessarily work out well. And then in the interview as well, he said he's actually learnt a lot from Casemiro in regards to scanning as well, which is the sort of thing that I think you want to keep someone like Casemiro around for.
I feel like Kobbie's gonna, in terms of in the dressing room and how to train properly and experiences that he's been through, of course, listen, you've won what he's won and played with the players he's played with for how long he's done it. Your mind needs to be like a sponge as a young player around him about how to look after yourself, what you do and stuff like that. But as we can clearly see in the games, he is not the partner for Kobbie Mainoo. Like, Man United's core now, our nucleus, is Kobbie Mainoo. And we shouldn't even, I know it's like, don't put too much pressure on the kid. And it's like, no, if we want to build,
that's just what it is.
Like I said it this morning on the morning show, I was like, I was so reluctant to kind of do this and do that and with Kobbie, but his performances are making us do it. Like, there's no other way. Like, the kid's good enough. So our midfield needs to be centered about when we build it, when we reconstruct it, because Bruno's another one as well. It's like, how do we get the best out of Kobbie Mainoo? Kobbie Mainoo is not the most mobile player. Like, he's fantastic on the ball, and he's going to keep going up gears. He's unbelievable. But even now, and he's still got some growing to do, he's only just about to turn 19, it's a joke. But he still isn't like that, like a Paulinho who can get about like a Declan Rice. The reason why we look at Kobbie in the England setup and say, wow, it's because you have got someone like a Rice who can just cover every blade of grass, do what needs to be done. Then obviously Jude is Jude or Foden's Foden. But I think his partner can't be like Casemiro. It's what you say. It isn't necessarily go and get Scholes, because like you said, will be open as hell. Someone who can't tackle, but is world class like Paul Scholes. We don't need that either. What we need is a combative, physical midfielder who can also play ball, who can cover a lot of grass. Because for me, I don't know how you guys feel, and we're talking about Kobbie a lot because it's what Casemiro has given us or lack of. Kobbie needs to play further forward. Kobbie is like a lone six for me. I don't see him there.
No, it doesn't work.
Me personally, I don't see him there.
It's a waste of a lot of
It's a waste of a lot. So he
back.
either needs to play in a pivot with somebody who's really physical and can cover a lot of grass so he can go and get involved and just be an out-and-out 8 with 2 8s if our manager wants to do that. Or he needs to play further up the pitch. So Casemiro, I just don't think is going to help accompany that.
Yeah, but Flex, I agree that Kobbie would be much better with another partner next to him. We need to replace Casemiro in the starting 11, but don't you think it would still be beneficial to have Casemiro on the bench?
Yeah, I don't think that'd be detrimental.
That's what I'm saying. So I wouldn't rush to sell him.
No, but the problem is, Raf, is that we're trying to rebuild a team, and if we're trying to be better economically viable and more sustainable with the decisions that we've made, we've got to undo the sins of the past. And you've got to start right at the top of the food chain in terms of what is the longevity of Casemiro, what is the future of Casemiro being here. Like, and I'm not disrespecting him. He from now to the season, he can still get us big goals. In the semi-final at Wembley, he can come up with a header, or he might win us the FA Cup. I'm not discrediting, because I think when people hear you kind of talk about Casemiro, it's like, are you crazy? He's won 5 champions. It's about what he's doing now in what we're trying to do, what we're trying to build. And Casemiro, there's no longevity in it, bro. I'm like, if the money comes in, we have to take it.
I would be more in a rush to get rid of Scott McTominay. I would rather get rid of Scott McTominay first than Casemiro. And we have to be realistic as to how many people we're going to get rid of this summer. Because, we can say 10 to 12 names that we'd like to get rid of. But if we're being realistic, because we need to think about how many players we can afford to sign, I'd rather get rid of McTominay. I know Eriksen won't give us much money, but he's not that useful at the moment as well. There's other midfielders that I'll get rid of before Casemiro.
But he's on the, I don't know, man. I just think because he's like so difficult to sell, if there's a way that you can sell him, Saudi are the only people who are going to take him.
Probably.
I can't see it unless he's going to take a pay deduction. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Saudi's the only team.
I think as well with Casemiro is, for all the positives he still does bring to United, like he's still a very experienced player. He comes up with these clutch moments.
Got
like
a lot
you
of
said,
passion.
like,
He
and
gets
he's
it.
brilliant. I like, as an individual, I do
Yes.
still really like him.
Agreed.
But being pragmatic about who you can get in the world of football, there's definitely players out there who can probably still do the same job that Casemiro is doing
Better,
now.
because
Better.
stylistically,
maybe they're more
not the
limited.
name.
Maybe they're more limited, but they'll be better at just sitting there and being able to, like as you said, cover the grass, put in those tackles that aren't as dramatic. Another thing, the Casemiro that does irk me is how dramatic some of his challenges are. Like he will fly in at a million miles an hour, and then other times he'll let
Diaz when he went past him.
was it Diaz and
Lars right in front of him,
I think it was against Chelsea, just like jog back and
Yeah.
someone ran straight past him. I'm just like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You can get someone who will just stick a foot in.
But that's because he don't have legs like that. Like he can't.
Yeah.
If you get into in a 1v1 situation, he's in big trouble. He's not good in 1v1 situations. And in the Premier League, in what we're trying to build,
Yeah, but
we
maybe
need.
if the style of play changes, i.e.,
Yeah.
I know we're not talking about this today, but if there is a different manager,
Yeah.
maybe another manager can change the style of play and make it better suited to Casemiro
That's true.
as well.
That's true.
But he is 32. So if you're changing the style of play for Casemiro and then he's off within the next 2 seasons
For
anyway,
everyone.
you then need to bring in another player and then change the style again.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you can sell him for, let's say you said 35 million, you can probably buy a player who's 27, 28, played in top 5 leagues, played Champions League games, or even still in the Premier League. Like I don't know how many years Paolini's got in his contract left at Fulham. You can get a player for the money you sell Casemiro
Love to
for.
get Paulini.
Paolini is a fantastic player, and I saw obviously Bayern
be
really wanted him
perfect
last summer.
for Paolini.
And it just like there are so many people out there who can do Casemiro's job without all the extra stuff around Casemiro, either for better or for worse. So maybe let fewer clutch goals, but also fewer just ridiculous moments in midfield.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, it's kind of sad because obviously last season he was fantastic. And I remember when he first came in and he started playing those passes, I was like, who is this guy? I thought he'd sit there and tackle, and he's playing all these amazing passes,
Not
scoring
disrespect.
7, 8 goals.
Like, I don't
Oh,
want
for
it.
sure.
I really don't want it to come across like, oh, whatever, he's crap. Like, Some people do feel like that, but no. I just feel that when you look at it with all facets, it's like, I think it's more of a hindrance than a help.